Welcome to Red Baron Reviews. I'm Barron, and today we are taking a look at another knife by Cooper Cutlery, Shatton Morgan, whatever you want to call them. This is from their Weed&Co line, and this is the Trapper. So without further ado, my traditional knife lovers and my potheads, let's break into this thing. So up front, my voice is a little hoarse because I'm sick, and if you hear background noise, it's the kids, but I wanted to get this out today, the day I got this in, because there's some important news with this. If you guys saw my first video on this knife, you would know that I'm very unimpressed with this company, and at least this sample size of one, very unimpressed, and that it is not worth the $125 or so that they're asking. So why would I get another one? And the answer is real simple. C. Risner, I think it's the traditionalpocketknife.com, I'm pretty sure, ran a sale on these things for $40 a pop. You cannot beat that. So with that, let's open it up and see if it is any different, quality-wise. Of course, the knife's different. It's a Trapper. So same sandwich bag that the last one came in. The tube is pretty well the same thing. Let's see. Same as last time. You can pause it and read it if you want. Basically just saying that it's a limited run. It's the first run. You know, that type of stuff. Here's the EDC. That's what this knife is being called, this Trapper model. Again, pause it if you want to read it. I will note that on the tube, they just threw a sticker over the pre-existing label that was there. And then same thing here. You can pause if you want to read it. As we talked in the first video, that's to kind of depoliticize the, well, this thing right here, right? So I got this knife mainly because it was $40, but also I thought it was funny because, you know, if you're into the illegal stuff or watch cops, you know, trapping, and it's a Trapper. So I thought that was kind of funny, but also the price point. So with that, let's just fly through this real quick. The specs are 4 inches closed. Doesn't matter which blade. 7.25 open. 440 stainless blades, just like the other knife I did a review on. Blades are 3.5 a piece and 2.5 ounces. So that means it's pretty much a standard Trapper size. To put that in comparison, here's a Remington Trapper, and it's maybe a 1/4 inch longer. As far as the width, about the same. The blade shapes are considerably different. I guess we can get into that right now if we're doing a comparison. This is actually one reason that I like the Remington. This has got to be my favorite Trapper. And if you watch the channel, you know I don't really like this pattern, but I do love this knife. But yeah, so you can see the blade geometry is a little bit different. Remington, at least on this knife, whoever made it for them, changed it up a bit. But back to this one, which is why you're here. Last size comparison to the Victorinox Cadet. So let's do fit and finish real quick. I don't see any cracks. I'm going to say that's just the material. I'm not going to ding them on that. As far as the shield goes, there's some discoloration right there, and I kind of pointed that out on this too. I'm not a fan of that. You know, when you buy these, you buy it for these logos, right? And for those who don't know the history and think this is just a total pothead's knife, Weed & Company was a real hardware company. They were a big hardware store. In fact, I think it was a several-story building in New York back in the early 1900s, late 1800s. So it actually has some history. This didn't just come out because of a new trend. But anyway, back to the fit and finish. There's a little bit of unevenness here, but not much. Much better than the other knife anyway. A little bit of gap there. Nothing too crazy on this side. Look at the other side. There's a gap. And right there. So pretty well gap all the way across there. Right there. A little bit of a gap here. Pretty flush up through this way. And that's kind of a big deal, right? So it's kind of hard to make out on camera, but this liner brass liner actually sticks up a little bit, noticeably. Like you can see it in person. I don't know how that's coming through on the camera, but it sticks up above the handle material, the cover material. So maybe if I open the blade, you can see that better. It's still not really coming across, but it's enough that you can actually see it. There's a decent angle, and that pretty well goes the whole length of the knife, or the cover anyway. Look at the bolsters. They look pretty good. They're not as scratched up as the last ones. In fact, they're not really scratched up at all, which is good to see. Blade centering is actually good. This one favors to the my right just a little bit. Your right as well as you're looking at this. Not too bad. And I don't think it's rubbing. Of course, I haven't carried this, I haven't opened and closed it very many times, so we'll do that real quick. I'm not seeing any rubbing. There are some scratches on this blade on the back. I don't really see any. There's that stamp, 2021, Winchester, Ohio. Weed&Co. Weed&Co on the blade. You know, there's some scratches here, just kind of like this one. Had some scratches up there. Not for 40 bucks, definitely nothing to complain about for sure. A tip. It's got a little bit of dullness on the end. You can make that out or not. It's a little dull on the end, but not. It's enough that you can still feel the blade snag your finger. So if you were actually going to use this to like dress an animal, like a small game or something, you could. There's enough there that it'll grab onto it, unlike this guy, which is just as dull as can be at the tip. So that's good that actually will serve its purpose. Blade itself feels pretty decent, pretty sharp. The nail nick looks nice. Go to the second blade. Weed&Co again. Nice, generous nail nick. The grind actually looks pretty good on this, fairly centered, especially up towards the end. I know case knife struggles quite a bit up through the end. This one looks good. Again, it's got just a little bit, not so much, and I don't really care on this blade because the spay blade, you're not going to be using the tip to puncture things with. That's not what this blade serves a purpose for. So I'm not as concerned with that. I'm not going to knock it on that. And then you see it has EDC. Oh, didn't mean to bump the camera. It has EDC etched on the blade. And then Winchester, Ohio, 2021, same as the other blades. So it's interesting that both blades have the same markings. So that's kind of cool. But the snap is good. These do not have a half stop. And a lot of full-size trappers do not. That most of the case ones don't. My Remington one doesn't. I had a Boker. It did not. Some of the smaller variants do, but like this Remington, nothing. And walk and talk's a little bit better on the Remington, but not much. Pretty comparable. The pull weight on the clip point blade, or I guess drop, I don't know, it's kind of between a drop and a clip, I guess. We'll call it a clip. Yeah, it's a clip. On the clip is, call it like a 6 to a 7, so kind of medium pull weight. On the secondary blade, like a 5 to 6, just a little bit lighter. But all in all, the quality of this one seems to be, it seems like the quality control anyway was much better than this one. So that's good to see. Maybe this was just a lemon. Maybe this was just a sample size of one. I'm glad to see that this is better quality. I don't think it's worth $125 like what it was when it came out. I don't think it's worth anywhere near that. For $40, heck yes. I like it. I can do it for 40 bucks. For 60, I would still think it's worth the money. You start getting up above $70, $80, there's better options. But I think for 60 or less, this is a bargain. So go out and look for them while they're on sale. Get them. They're worth the money. They're worth 40 to 60 easy, in my opinion. And they'll be a great user knife. And for all the guys on here who are actually just potheads and know nothing about knives, sorry if that bored you, but hey, you can add a knife to your collection and join the community. So if you guys have any questions, as always, feel free to ask them in the comment section. Please share, like, subscribe, all that good stuff. Comments help with the algorithms. It gets these videos seen, so I appreciate that. And let me know how the new microphone sounds. This is the first time I've used this microphone. If it's a no-go, let me know, and I'll return it and get something different. So guys, as always, stay free.